McCubbs has already mentioned Dybala there, Henry. I mean, he is one of the potential sort of pawns in this move. Do you see him being involved in this?
It's an interesting one. I think we have to look at the Dybala situation as a whole. I will just say, if you want to basically see extrapolate on everything Dougie's just said, we do have a FD explained on what's maybe gone wrong for Pogba at United coming out. It'll have come out before this video goes out as well. So get onto the Football Daily, have a look for that explained video. It's a really in-depth look at sort of everything that's happened over the past few years. That'd be a really good thing for you to educate yourselves with there. But Dybala, it's an interesting one. The Juventus sporting director, Fabio Paratici, he did address speculation with Pogba after their midweek victory over Barcelona. He obviously praised Pogba. They admitted they knew him really well, but he did say that any transfer would involve a fee, stating, "We know his price, so we will see what happens." As you said, McCubbs, Juventus don't have a ton of money at all. They're pretty cash strapped as it stands. We obviously talked about whether or not Cristiano Ronaldo would leave a few weeks ago. So, any outright transfer, I'll be very surprised to see, which does lead on to this possibility of a swap deal, which according to The Athletic could involve Paulo Dybala. Not the first time this has popped up, but one thing's for sure, something's not quite right with Dybala at Juventus. It's a real seesaw of emotions with his career there. And in 17-18, he netted 22 times. Then he only hit 5 a year later. And then last season, he got 11 and was even named I think he was named the Serie A most valuable player, if I remember correctly. But then it's really rocketed back the other way again this year. He's only scored 1 goal and provided 0 assists in 11 UCL and league games. I think that goal came against Ferencváros in the Champions League, so not really at all what you'd expect from him. And it's quite plain to see that Andrea Pirlo just doesn't really fancy him too much at the moment. 13 players in the Juventus squad have made more than his 361 minutes in the league so far. And I think a real key telling point to what's kind of the issue there is that his shots are actually up from 4.2 to 5 per 90. His key passes are still around 2.5, and his dribbles at 1.7. That is a drop on the year before. And his expected goals and assists per 90 are still at 0.67, which is virtually the same as the season before. But the end product's just completely gone, which does point to sort of a deeper issue going on with Dybala. I think it is worth mentioning, this is the 3rd season in a row he's had to play under a new manager. Obviously, he had Allegri, and then he had Maurizio Sarri, and now he's got Andrea Pirlo. That's 3 different systems that he's had to readjust to each time. And he is a bit of a slow starter. Last season, he didn't start the season particularly well at all. And there was obviously that speculation suggesting that he would move away. You're completely right, McCubbin. I think he was holding out for a ridiculous agent's fee or some signing-on fee, which was quite clear from United that he was just trying to sort of buy time. And
he also has really complicated image rights, I seem to remember as well,
yes,
which was quite a sticking point.
That is true. But yeah, it didn't seem like he wanted to leave them. However, in this new Pirlo system, it doesn't really look like he's got much of a place. In 5 out of the last 6 games, Pirlo's gone with 2 strikers up front in either a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2. And, Morata's started so well. Morata's undroppable at the moment in that team. He's got 9 goals in 13 league and UCL games. Obviously, Ronaldo is just being Ronaldo, let's face it. And he's giving a chance to Chiesa and Kulusevski, who are kind of the new 2 young bloods on the wing there as well. I mean, even Bernardeschi's getting minutes ahead of him, which is a bit of a concern.
Yeah.
Dybala's other problem is he doesn't really have a set position. It kind of changes year on year as well. I think he really benefited from having a great relationship with Gonzalo Higuain from the national team as well. And then last year he kind of figured out he needed to play closer in sort of the 2 up front next to Ronaldo in order to get the best out of his relationship with Ronaldo. And he's lost that ability there again with Morata coming into the sides. So yeah, and now he's sort of drifting into positions where he kind of looks a bit lost. If they go 3 up front, there's no reliance on who's going to do the defensive duties in that front 3 of Dybala, Ronaldo and Morata. So it is a bit tricky for him there. And this is meant to be the best moment in Dybala's career. He's 27 years old. He's got a value at around £72 million. Similar to the Pogba situation, I think they would probably accept a lot less for that in a outright transfer. And yet, as far as a professional goes, he's played 40 games in each of his last 5 seasons. He's won 5 league titles and the double on 3 occasions. But despite all of that, it does look like he might need to change in order to kind of unlock I don't want to say potential, because at 27 years old, you shouldn't really be saying potential, but in order to consistently hit that ability, which we all know he has, and I think going somewhere where he has a set position and he can just really knuckle down where to play might be useful. I saw Bayern's chairman, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, he talked about the Dybala link after their game last night, and he said he wasn't really sure about it. He was very surprised to see that. I can't see him going to Bayern Munich at all, really. I think they've got exceptional quality on the wings already, and whilst Thomas Müller continues to perform really well in the central attacking midfield role, I can't see that happening either. I really, once again, it's Real Madrid or a swap to Manchester United. I actually could see him at Manchester United. I think if we consider that Martial is equally kind of frustrating in terms of the consistency of his output, I do think there is maybe a space for him on the wing there. But once again, if we consider that they'll probably go back in for Sancho at some point, I think it may not be money well spent. But yeah, that leads to really whether or not a swap deal could be on the cards, which is, I personally don't see it. I don't think he wants to come to England. I think if he goes anywhere, he'll continue in a more kind of Latin European nation such as Spain. I can't see him coming to England. However, if both sides don't have that money to spend, then maybe this is the only plausible solution. But yeah, I can't quite see it, but certainly think that Dybala's time at Juventus is reaching a really kind of bizarre conclusion.
I feel like it'd almost be lose-lose for the two clubs, to be honest, because like you said, Henry, like Dybala's not been able to really get into the system that Pirlo's playing, and Pirlo hasn't played a 4-3-3 once this term, which we know is the system that Pogba enjoys the most, and is where he plays his best football. So unless Pirlo was going to change his system just to suit Pogba and build the team around him, I don't really see how even Pogba going to Juventus is a particularly good move.
I agree with you. I mean, it's all well and good Paratici saying, we love Pogba, we all know how good he is. I mean, their midfield is really stacked already. I mean, Weston McKennie's looking really good. Even Aaron Ramsey played very well the other day. Artur hasn't even featured all too much, and Bentancur, all these other kind of players. All these other players who are there or thereabouts. I don't actually know how Pogba just... I mean, maybe he does waltz into that team. I'm not sure. Maybe Morata going back there and rediscovering his best form is a good sign for maybe some of these ex-Juventus players. But yeah, I'm not totally... Real Madrid for me is the only really shoe-in move for him, considering that Modric and Kroos are entering a point in their careers where they're getting older and older, and they probably do need a world-class midfielder in that midfield who could slot in. And Pogba, that's the only one I can see happening. But as you addressed earlier, whether or not they're even budgeting for him either is a strange one. So yeah, I think everyone's sort of in a bit of a limbo situation about where they'll be going.
Yeah, Casemiro, Fede Valverde and Pogba is a pretty mouth-watering midfield, I have to say, with regular minutes from Kroos as well. But back to Dybala briefly, I really enjoy watching Dybala play. I think he's a phenomenal technician. I think his output's been pretty good, considering the fact that he's never really felt like he was the number one since at least sort of 17-18 when he was in fantastic form. He's had a hell of a lot of different strike partners in that time. He's had a lot of bigger rivals, and now he needs a move that's going to suit him for the rest of his career. But where that is to, I'm really unsure. The club that probably needs him the most is Arsenal, but I can't see him swapping Juventus for Arsenal anytime soon. I would have potentially said Atleti in the summer as a backup to João Felix as well, but I don't think they'll go for him. So I'm really kind of at a loss for Dybala.